It's been quite some time, over a year actually, since my last video about this game. Firefight Training is a game in which you can complete levels by extinguishing the entire fire to reach the exit point. It was my first Unity project, therefore the code was quite awful. I had barely 30 FPS when playing it. I want to bring this project to at least somewhat finished state. Therefore I improved most scripts while trying to understand how they worked. Believe me, a lot of improvements were necessary. Back then, I didn't even know you could call functions with values on button press, and I was unaware of the fact that you could set objects' active states directly to a comparison instead of using an if statement to check if it should be set to true or false. It even seems like I iterated through an array to calculate its length. After recovering from seeing this terrible code, I was ready to move on. I rewrote the complete fire logic since the old concept was overly complicated as well as resource intensive. Now, it makes use of collisions to check for surrounding flammable things only once instead of every frame. That already increased the frame rate by a lot. Furthermore, every cube is completely inactive unless it is burning. While it is active, it will call functions on the surrounding cubes to slowly ignite them. The fires themselves do not check if they are being extinguished. The extinguisher calls extinguish functions on the flammable things in the affected area. With those improvements, I already more than doubled the performance. Furthermore, the script allows me to easily add new ignition sources or extinguishing objects. I needed even better performance though. I wanted to have 4096 burning cubes without losing too many frames per second. Another huge improvement was decreasing work for all apart the burning edge cubes to 0. With large-scale tests, I realized that I had to keep at least one fire on if I did not want the frame rate to drop drastically. I did not realize at first what caused this weird bug, but then I realized that Unity might not be able to handle 4096 audio sources. But then finally, I have almost 30 FPS when staring directly into 4096 flames. As soon as I start looking away, it rises to an almost infinite amount. Or 60 because it's limited, but still. Now I theoretically could build huge levels with big walls of flames combined with extremely powerful extinguishers, because seeing a huge mass of fire disappear is just really satisfying. I especially enjoy the improved movement. In order to let extinguish knockback and explosions have a bigger impact on the player's movement, I decided to remove b-hopping. I kept the snappy movement, but reduced air control regarding explosions. I also kept conveniences such as jump buffer and coyote time. It might not be the final movement, but it is at least a slight improvement. Or actually, it's quite a big improvement because first the movement just felt weird and inconsistent. As you probably have seen in previous clips already, I kept up with my old tradition for this game. I remade most of the visuals, again, for the third time, I think, in total. I previously had a very inconsistent art style, some low poly objects mixed with high poly ones, different UIs, it was overall just a mess. I decided I wanted to try out something completely new to me, voxel art. I used Magica Voxel to make a few simple models. First, I tried to make them quite detailed, but then I settled for something a little simpler. I've never used this program before and I'm completely inexperienced in making something in this style, so definitely let me know in the comments what you think of it. To fit the UI to the freshly created models, I made a pixelated version of them. While remaking the UI, I also changed the way power-ups appeared when you collected them, since I found out that V-boxes which automatically align items exist. I also improved the visuals for the environment. I made a shader for the walls which merges two textures with a different tiling to make it seem a little more detailed than it actually is. Additionally, I made a lava shader which slowly switches between two textures, almost bringing it to life. I'm not completely happy with it. I want the walls to look a little more clean while also having the right amount of detail. I will probably change this around a bit, but it's good enough for now. As a final touch, I replaced the wood texture in the menu with somewhat of a sample scene. Furthermore, I remade the settings menu, changed the textures there as well. I plan on remaking the level select screen, but that will have to wait for the next devlog because I'm going to entirely remake the scoring system, in an effort to highlight the importance of extinguishing burning objects. Anyway, let me know what you think about this devlog and especially what you think about this new art style. If you have any suggestions, I might be able to include them in the next devlog, which I hope to get done rather quickly, so remember to write anything that comes to mind in the comments. And well, bye, see you next time.